right, James, thanks for taking the time to be with us today. I know it's a little bit of a time difference. Um, where are you working from right now?
Yeah, no problem, Jacob. Thanks for having me on this show. I'm currently based in Bali, Canggu, Indonesia.
Oh,
Okay,
wow.
well, Django. That's great. I have not been in Indonesia, but it is high on my list.
It's a real great place. Lots of, interestingly enough, a lot of companies involved in the AI space here. Surprisingly, I was very surprised when I started to uncover this. There's actually an AI community meetup happening tonight.
Oh
That's
wow,
actually, yeah, really quite energizing. Lots of people doing cool stuff with AI over here.
Is it
that's amazing.
mostly like homegrown companies there, or is it a lot of kind of expats who have moved to Indonesia to increase their runway?
So it's very different to what I would say like the whole Silicon Valley crowd is. It's more
Yeah,
so expats that have an existing borderless digital business, and they're almost like hobbyists. They're hackers, right? And they're trying to
yeah,
look. Some are just in the exploratory stages. Some are more advanced, but they're all going through this process of AI augmentation to their existing businesses. Some people are even building full blown AI companies from the scratch and are in the development phases right now, which is, yeah, super exciting and
that
great.
is, yeah.
James, did you move there for the AI community as well, or what took you there?
Yeah, not at all. 100% lifestyle, mate, honestly. And, my AI company, I built it really to just maintain or give me the lifestyle that I want. So it was purely a lifestyle decision, and I've kind of fallen
Wow,
into it backwards that there's actually quite a cool AI scene operating here in Canggu.
yeah, that's
That's awesome.
amazing. Yeah. So maybe give us a little background on you, your career, uh, your background, and then we can maybe get into what you're working on now.
Yeah, totally. So I started in the tech industry when I was 16. My brother-in-law tapped me on the shoulder to help me manage his very early, and this is back in Australia, where I was born and raised, a very early sort of e-commerce 1.0, pre-Shopify, pre all the CMS platforms, e-commerce site. That would have been like 2006. So quite early for e-commerce in Australia. I had no idea what I was doing, so I had to learn how to write HTML, how to write CSS, and just basically taught myself how to code in order to do the job, right? So that led on to me sort of going down the more formal pathway of education, studying, they called it e-media back in the day, but it was really sort of like web design was like an elective. And through that, I got involved with like a student enterprise program in the university, and businesses started to find out that I knew how to program and create websites. So they asked me, could I do it for them? And they were willing to pay me while I was in college. I said, sure, why not? So that started my freelance career where I was simply just building websites for money. Um, After a while, I started to realize, well, hey, I don't need a degree to be able to make a career out of this. So I decided to drop out, went in whole hog, and then partnered up with a friend of mine, created a digital marketing agency, and ran that company for 8.5 years. So it would have been
Wow.
early 2021. I decided to sell my stake in that agency. Took some time, took a break, took about 8 months off. Was dabbling in all different types of things. Ended up landing in SEO consulting as my kind of thing that I wanted to do next, just as an independent, and was doing that throughout 2022 up until late 22, early 23. And that's when really the whole GPT craze started to hit the world. I was completely swept up in that wave as well. But more specifically, how I could use it to not only automate existing SEO processes that I was doing as a consultant, but to greatly expand the reach and scale of what I could do as an individual consultant using artificial intelligence as essentially a co-pilot to me as an SEO consultant to achieve way greater scale. That led into the development of Rankmax, which is my SEO artificial intelligence software company, which I launched in August of this year. So it's now currently in alpha in the market, already have some active paying customers. And so far, it's doing really well, performing extremely well. Looking forward to a really big 2024.
That's awesome. So do you have that tool pulled up now? Should we go ahead and and just do a quick demo, see what it looks like?
Totally, no problem at all.
Awesome.
All right, is that working?
Yep,
Yeah,
we can see it.
perfect.
Yeah, fantastic. So this is the site, rankmax.ai. Now, I will completely preface to say that the site is currently in, the actual app itself is in private alpha. So it only does, I would say, probably 15% of what the full scope of what it's my intention and goal of what it is that it will do, which I'd like to just extrapolate further so the viewers can understand the full scope of what Rankmax will do.
Yeah.
So what I might quickly do is just show you what the actual intended mission is for this business. So
That'd
really
be awesome.
the three key components that I'm building Rankmax to do is number one, keyword research. And not just keyword research where it's like, how many variations of protein powder is there? And, like how Ahrefs and SEMrush already work. That's already been done. My intent behind keyword research is how to use artificial intelligence to understand what the business is, understand not only what the business is, the intent of the keyword phrases, and its comprehension of the business, and understand what are the best keywords to target in order for that business to have topical authority ownership of whatever the niche is that they are wanting to establish themselves in. Now, a lot of this is done in the brain of an SEO consultant, right? But with the right prompt engineering and structure, and in my preliminary tests, you can use the AI in combination with keyword research tools to help go through that keyword decision-making and classification process to understand what is the best keyword to target. And then secondly, what is then the best type of content to target the keyword with. Yeah, matching the keyword intent with the right piece of content is critical if you want to be ranking, particularly if you want to be getting on the first page of search. That's the content creation piece. So I've got the base alpha, which I'll show shortly, of what that content creation piece looks like, which I'll demo shortly. And then once it's handled the content creation piece almost autonomously, it will then move through, publish the AI-generated content onto the website, and then becomes the monitoring process. So it will check where these pages are landing in the search engine results pages. And let's say, for example, a competitor goes in and starts pushing your page down with more fresher, better, relevant content. The artificial intelligence will be able to go in, understand what that page is that's outranked you, why has it outranked you, then how can it go back to the original page that it created using fresher, better, more relevant data to improve it to regain those rankings. So it's a continuous cyclical process that has artificial intelligence integrated into every single step. This is like a content SEO strategy, right? That any human content SEO would do. I'm just now integrating artificial intelligence into each step to allow this to do it at highly autonomous and much larger scale than a single individual, arguably an entire SEO team or division can do.
Wow.
So let me just quickly jump over and I'll give you an example of where currently the content creation phase is. So this is, again, to clarify, this is ultra simple. This is the alpha. All this does right now is article creation. Now, I can give you a few examples. In fact, you know what? Why don't we fire something in? Shoot me like a keyword phrase or a topic, anything that you can think of, maybe something AI related. Shoot me anything, any type of keyword phrase that could an article could be created with.
I should do some like retrieval augmented generation for keep it topical to AI.
Retrieval augmented
Generation.
Did I spell that correctly? Let me just.
Yeah.
Oh, I did. Wow. Look at me go. All right, here we go.
Nailed it.
So I'm just going to fire that up. And right, so now this is going through. The AI is now going to write an article under best interpretation of retrieval augmented generation. There's a whole stack of things here. The real power right now, I would say, in this platform, I'm working with larger businesses. Rankmax, I don't really sell this to small companies because the scope of it can't realize its full potential of a small business. I need a larger multinational client or company to realize the full scope. Why? Is because one of the biggest problems right now Rankmax is solving is multinationals tend to only have a content strategy in English, yeah, but they could be based in Spanish countries, they could be based in European countries like Germany, so on and so forth, where English isn't the predominant language. So the big power with it is that we can take that retrieval augmented generation article that it's now going and creating, and then switch the target market to,
Oh, wow.
say, let's just go, where are we? Germany. And then we could have it write it in German. Yeah. And in my tests so far, what I found extremely interesting is, based on how I've structured this, the AI will actually pick up cultural nuances in the country that you're targeting, say Germany, and in German, and it actually reflects the cultural nuances in its writing ability, which is incredibly difficult to do if you just took an English-based article. And this is how most multinationals do it. They take an English-based article and they just use a multilingual plugin and straight convert it. And when you do that, it misses the cultural nuances. And then
Yeah.
usually you need to have someone local to try and fix it
Yeah.
up. But it's just like you kind of, you're trying to put lipstick on a pig at that point in time. Whereas in this point, it actually will draft it with that cultural nuance in mind. And then it's just a matter of fine tuning and checking to make sure everything's all hunky dory before it goes out and publishes. Now,
Yeah,
because
wow.
this,
That's powerful. That's incredible. I know that
Yeah.
we were just on a trip, and you always see signs where it's translated, and you're like, I don't think that quite translated to English how they intended.
Yeah, exactly. So that's actually
Like,
been a surprise because I only speak English because, Australians on a big island, we don't need to speak anything else other than one language. So, but talking to my multilingual friends, they've been telling me this, which has been very interesting. I didn't realize it at the time.
yeah.
But at this point in time, so it does just articles. Just going back to what I was saying before with the AI-assisted keyword research, once it understands the intent, certain keywords, an article isn't the best way to target it, right? For example, if we had, let's just play on the retrieval augmented generation consultant. Let's just say that was the target keyword. Yeah. And because we attached consultant on the tail of that phrase, that means someone searching with that has the intent to hire a consultant to help them with retrieval augmented generation. So to send that search to an article is a fail. Yeah. You want to be sending that search with that keyword phrase to a service page or a long form landing page that is designed to capture that intent and convert it into either like a contact form inquiry or a call or a consultation, right? So that means the actual page is not an article. It needs to be like a landing page or a service page. So the next step with Rankmax is to then start creating these different content types. So not just articles, service pages, landing pages, e-commerce product pages, description pages, then being able to match the intent of the keyword with the right type of content. So then it can create the right type of page structure based on the intent. Why? So it will give the customer the best chance of ranking on the first page because they're matching the intent of the keyword search. Without having to know all of this SEO knowledge, like the AI is where this knowledge is providing it to the consumer. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it almost automates the full, I don't know if this is a common phrase, but the sales funnel where it does the wide mouth and it just automates the whole marketing strategy of bringing them down to the end result. That's pretty amazing.
From a content SEO marketing perspective, that's right. I've had a lot of people say, but will it do social media? In theory, yes, I could spin it out and have it do social media captionings, but I don't want it to just be the be-all and end-all marketing platform. I really want to keep it focused on SEO. But with that said, so it's now completed this article. It's a little bit slow. I need to rebase it. It's not on GPT 4.5 Turbo yet. That's my next job, actually, is to move it to 4.5 Turbo. But you can see here, bam. So it's now written an article, Retrieval Augmented Generation, pioneering the next phase of AI development. Now, I'm not going to sit here and bore you by reading the entire thing. But even if I just do a quick grab of the full article, let's just do a full grab. So Introduction to Retrieval Augmented Generation, Understanding Basics, Importance, Distinctions between Classical Text Generation and Retrieval Augmented Generation, how it works, the science behind it, essential components, process flow, pre-training and fine-tuning, applications. Looks like it's going into use cases, chatbots, linguistic studies, future prospects, So what the future of the industry holds, and then wrapping it up with final thoughts. So
Wow.
a fairly comprehensive article that you saw. I probably did that while I was blabbering on there within a few minutes. So the
Yeah,
time,
and so
go
uh,
ahead.
question on that. Obviously, we don't want you to give away too much of your secret sauce because that's the key to your business. But what does kind of the article creation loop look like on the code side for this? Are you using some LangChain abstraction or already, or is it just yeah, just what's going on?
Yeah,
What's under the hood?
yeah, it's
Yeah.
incredibly simple. Honestly, guys, like let me clarify by saying I'm no developer. So I did this all in no code, and
Oh, dang.
it's really just chained API requests to
Really?
GPT, and it's then compiling it into a database, and then concatenating it out into a single a single HTML page, which is the end
Yeah.
form article, as we saw there. That's really it. It's dead simple. It's incredibly simple. It's actually almost like a joke how simple it is. Really, it works, it functions, and if we want to talk about results, I'm more than happy to demonstrate results of real businesses of what this has done for them. I've lost my word count, but it should be around a 1500
Wow.
word article thereabout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I am curious as far as like the practical application. What have there been any specific industries that you're targeting or that you see are more attracted to this that you're already getting traction with?
Yeah, totally. So from what I found so far that's working really good is your global SaaS businesses where they don't really have a particular limit in terms of their geographic reach, but they are generally obviously tech savvy, pro technology. They're a software company at the end of the day, so their resistance is to trying things such as AI content and SEO is lower. So it makes my job easier because I don't have
Mm,
to spend so much time trying to convince them that this actually works.
wow. That is fascinating. So you said it's in kind of the alpha, trial phase. What is the anticipated timeline until you have it kind of built out to what you want it to be?
Yeah, 100%. So I do live in Bali, and I do probably not work enough, in all honesty. So when I say
Can't blame you.
timeline, I don't actually have one. I
When it
should.
gets there.
When it is there when it's there, basically. But with that said, I do have, if we just go back to the side, I do have an intended roadmap with what is happening next. So, like real time crawling, that's happening. The different content types, they're all going to be happening in the next month or two. I'm already doing the pre training manually, but doing this in more of a structured, like through I won't bore you with the technical, but doing this within Azure and building those pre-tuning databases will be like a January, February thing. And then probably after that, yeah, I'd say that's when we move into those two other big feature sets, the keyword research and ongoing optimization. That's probably going to be like the version 1 and version 2. But these will
Hmm.
all be rolling out in 2024. I'm confident I'll have the full scope of the product deployed in 2024.
That's awesome. So
That's
you
great.
mentioned that you have a couple customers using this already. What are kind of some of the specific benefits that they've seen already? Obviously, they're going to fall within a certain range of what we've discussed already, but I'd be curious to hear some more details about that.
Yeah, 100%. So, although I mentioned that currently the software itself is only able to do articles, I can still use the underpinning technology to manually create service pages, landing pages, e-commerce product pages,
Mm.
um, and also description pages. Those are the main sort of 5 content types that I'm developing through AI. The key thing here, and why a lot of people have been knocking AI content generation, is like, oh, it sucks, it doesn't convert. Now, that might be true if your prompt engineering is garbage, and if you don't know how to actually structure the way in which you need to create a high quality piece of content. Fine tuning is critical. A lot of people have got no idea what that is. They've
Yeah.
never done fine tuning prior to this content generation, which is a massive differentiator from what makes a bad quality piece of content through AI and a good quality. So that's critical. But the key component here and the key success metric for my businesses, still a lot of businesses, yes, traffic is great and they want to see an increase of rankings and page one rankings for certain keywords, and that's all fine and well, but does it convert? And this is the critical thing, and the reason why I'm building it to not just do articles, but to handle different content types is because the whole point, and this brings back to the whole objective of what Rankmax is designed to do, which is to achieve complete topical authority. And so let me give you an example of that. So,
yeah, that'd be great.
Right, you've got an artificial intelligence news website, and let's just say retrieval augmented generation is just one pillar of that content, right? But the overall area of topical authority you want to be seen as is, let's say, artificial intelligence. Yeah. Now that's very broad. And within the sphere of artificial intelligence, you could be looking at literally thousands upon thousands of relevant keywords, right? Now, sitting there and trying to work out thousands upon thousands of keywords into a content strategy as a human is incredibly difficult. However, when you feed that into an artificial intelligence, it can start to group these together. Keyword clustering is the industry term, which can then turn into a content schedule that's not just including articles, but including landing pages, service pages, and any other pages that are relevant to your area of topical authority to then go out and create, right? And the key thing for success with SEO, particularly content, is not just pumping out articles day and day. You can pump out articles day long and you'll get heaps of organic traffic as long as you've done your keyword research correct. That's easy, right? But to convert that organic search traffic into actual customers, leads, money, revenue, you need to be able to correctly build in conversion pages that are then connected and siloed in with informational article pages. This is called content siloing, another SEO terminology. So the differentiator with Rankmax is its design, and I'm building it to then do the full spectrum, not just articles, but the full spectrum of content, but then tightly integrating them together into a working content schedule that makes sense. Let me give you another example. So I use that. We've got our retrieval augmented generation article now sitting here ready to go after it's proofed and checked and whatnot. So we want to now attach a retrieval augmented generating consultant landing page that we can use for lead capture for consultancy style work, possibly a retrieval augmented generation course. Hell, if we wanted to sell a course, which would require a course long form landing page if we wanted that to rank well in search. And we can see within this article that we are talking about things such as classical text generation. There's another relevant theme. We're also talking about pre-training and fine-tuning. There's another related theme. Natural language. There's another one. And also chatbots. So I've just pulled 5 related themes out of this one article, right? So if we want to create a really strong content silo that's going to pull this site onto the first page of search, what we want is then we want to have 5 of those articles on those 5 themes that I just highlighted then to you. We tightly internally link these articles together to create a strong content silo that's connecting the dots for the user, yeah? Which is then funneling, and we have what I mean by funneling, we've got multiple call to actions through these 5 blog posts that are pushing the user either to that consultant squeeze page or that online course, a retrieval augmented generation sales page, long form sales page, that's pushing them into that conversion point, right? So that's how we're engineering, and then, like as you said before, the customer journey from information discovery to interest to desire to capture to conversion, yeah? And that's very much the full scope of Rankmax, is to build that entire content funnel, but with SEO as the underpinning driver of how all of this is engineered and how it brings together and how it gets people to these pages in the first place, right?
Yeah. Wow, James, this is quite the comprehensive tool. I think it could really change the SEO industry. I mean, what would you say to someone that is maybe nervous about, like a content creator, someone who's writing articles, someone who's in the SEO industry, and they see this and they maybe are nervous about the impact on their job? What would you say to them?
All I would say is learn and adopt this into your workflow, because ultimately all this tool is process automation in a
Mm.
nutshell. It's a process automation tool. You know, let's park the whole shiny object syndrome with artificial intelligence to the side. What is this actually
Yeah.
doing in a business sense? It's process automation, which has been around since the dawn of the computer, right? It's just got a new wrapper on it. So every smart person should be looking at ways to achieve greater efficiency through automating otherwise manual processes that I feel artificial intelligence is increasingly making more and more redundant. And if you are refusing or not looking at or not considering how to automate your existing process with artificial intelligence, then yes, of course, you could then be made redundant by a tool or a group or a person
Hmm.
that has, because naturally the benefit of this for the business, putting the cost factor aside, is that it can be able, what I just explained to you, it can do this, by the way, it can do this in minutes, right? That
Hmm.
would take months upon months for a human to build and engineer this, complete front to back content schedule, uh, and then to write the content. This is like, this takes
Yeah.
months to do, right? This can do it in minutes, for crying out loud. You cannot compete with it. So, for my advice would be, yes, adopt it, embrace it, because this is the new world that we live in
Hmm.
today.
So,
Yeah.
I kind of following on from that, what have been some pain points in adopting this process yourself? Have there been any significant pain points, or has it been mostly just about playing with cool new tools and figuring out what they can do?
Yeah, 100%. So the biggest pain point is, I'd say, when I started messing around with this early in 2023, when we're still in, like, the 3.5 era, I have seen every single time the GPT versions have, and even when they've done like the quality of life updates without releasing like a new iterative, numeric version of GPT, I can immediately see the quality improvement. So when this
Wow.
started, I would say the quality was pretty hit or miss. Hallucinations were quite rife, but as the quality of the actual large language model has improved, the direct output in tools like Rankmax is also improving. At the start, it took a lot of manual backwards and forwardsing, quality assurance to get there, but that's becoming less and less. Another thing that I've also learned, and the reason why I do not believe the future is like these mass market article generation tools where you just log in and spin up 100 articles willy-nilly. The thing is that every organization has their own unique content style guide. They have their
Mm.
own way in which they want articles, their content to sound, to represent,
Right.
and how to look. And when you're
Yeah.
just using an out of the box, straight from GPT to article, that doesn't reflect the company's unique style guide, which changes from company to company. So a lot of my time is actually spent fine tuning the model to match the style guide of the company that has hired me to do it, which is why it's an enterprise product, which is why I've decided to
Mm.
not take it mass market, because the reality is that if this part of the process, the fine tuning of it, didn't exist, these enterprises would never even, this content would never see the light of day. They'd never publish it. It wouldn't go past the content quality assurance teams. It would never make it past it. So hence why I've taken this route, and that's a constant learning process still today. Every day I'm learning how to better fine tune these large language models to produce better quality content.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been an interesting to watch happen in public. Yeah, and I'm glad that you made the point about fine tuning, because I see so many companies out there just kind of slapping it into a chat bot or their content generation, and the results are just not impressive, and it gives a bad name to those companies, and so
Not only
it's
that,
interesting to
not
hear
only
your
that,
perspective.
not only that, but I think it gives a bad name to artificial intelligence and large language models
100%.
in
Yeah.
general. They write off the concept as it not working, when the actual reality is that, and this just brings me back to my other point, is that the reality is no, it's not that it doesn't work, it's that you don't unfortunately have the knowledge. And this is not the person's fault, because this is still so early stages and there's still so little knowledge and education available in this space on how to effectively extract quality information out of a large language model. That is an art and a science in itself alone.
Mm. Yeah, I know that it's very difficult, very, you have to build that skill set to be able to fine tune, just like you said, fine tune those queries. I'm curious, James, looking at this, I know there has been talk with issues with, things like copyright law, various things like that, where AI might be at risk of potentially taking something that someone has written. Have you had any issues with that? Do you anticipate there being issues with things like copyright law with a tool like this?
So when I was in development, I was putting everything through Copyscape, which does a real-time scrape on the web to try and see if there's any direct plagiarism available in the content. I mean, heck, let's just take that one that we just spun up then, and take a look. And I've never seen. Okay, so it has scraped one component RAG. Let's just do a comparison here side by side. Yeah, there we go. So it's 13 words matching 1%. So
not too risky.
You can just throw that in the bin. Like there's no way heck you could be considered that's plagiarism on a 1% match. So the answer is no. I've never seen it produce any form of plagiarism or direct copying in every time I've put it through Copyscape, and that's now going into factors of hundreds of unique different articles that it's created at this point in time.
Is that, like, are you confident enough going forward that you wouldn't program in something, Copyscape functionality into Rankmax where it would compare, or are you confident enough that you're like, we don't need that functionality in Rankmax because it is a 1%,
Well, I don't believe the actual problem is on my side of the fence. This is something that OpenAI has been acutely, and they've already gone through lawsuits already this year for potential copyright infringement.
Yeah.
OpenAI is completely scared of getting pinged for copywriting, and so their official PR mouthpiece is that it will not produce copyrighted content. At the start, early 2023, yes, it was getting pinged for copywriting, but because due to all the lawsuits and everything that I've been watching closely with seeing what it's outputting, they've really put a lot of effort into cleaning it up so it doesn't produce copy infringed content. And from what I'm seeing on my end, as really just a user of its API, I haven't seen it produce any. So I believe that they're going to constantly maintain that to ensure that it doesn't, because if it did, that would be absolute disaster for the whole OpenAI company. So
Yes, this is all very, very interesting. The flywheel that you've built out is really fascinating and powerful. And then what kind of if someone were looking to go into this space themselves, what kind of advice would you give them? Like if they're looking at starting their own company, AI company of any kind?
Yeah. So I've seen a lot of people dabbling. Okay, it all boils down to what type of business do you want to build? What type of audience do you want to serve? And is there a commercially viable business model to achieve what you want to achieve with the business, and that's going to give you the life that you want to live? The mistake that I see a lot of people dabbling with artificial intelligence is they're building these consumer-based products that really cannot be monetized, or if they could be monetized, it would be a few dollars a month, right? And that is grotesquely difficult to build any type of large, decent turnover business that can self-sustain even the cost of using these large language models. They might even be running at a cost negative once they factor in, the token fees and all of that from the fact that, the type of market and what they're building, you just can't really effectively charge a lot of money for it. The biggest
Mm,
opportunity I see is in the enterprise space, is in business to business, and specifically process automation. It's simple as that. What is a manual process in an existing large business that takes a lot of time, a lot of money, and involves a lot of expensive, highly skilled people that usually is involving a lot of words, text. Hell, you can even throw in data analysis now with the whole assistant GPT and what Gemini has done as well, where it can actually comprehend and do statistical data analysis and mathematics, which has only just happened. Yeah. So
Yeah.
whereas a very slow, time-consuming, expensive, painful process in an enterprise that has these type of skill requirements, how can I then build a tool to automate it? Yeah, that, in my opinion, is the biggest opportunity available, and where the most amount of money can be made if you are wanting to create a commercially viable and successful artificial intelligence company today.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for that answer.
I guess actually one thing that came to mind, because I know you're obviously built on, using ChatGPT. Was there any issues with the whole, Sam Altman saga of,
Oh, that is a good one.
did you see any issues with, your functionality with OpenAI, ChatGPT when all that happened? Do you have a
Did it
fallback
shake your
plan
confidence in
if
them? Or yeah.
something happened?
Yeah, it was. I kind of held my breath for a minute, but I was not too concerned. I didn't see any issues. Keep in mind that with how Rankmax is, it's enterprise, yeah. So I currently really only have less than half a dozen customers on the
Mm-hmm.
platform, but that's fine. That's enough to completely sustain myself. More is the better, but that's totally fine.
Right.
So I'm actually not really heavily utilizing the large language model as much as like a big, consumer-facing product would be. So I saw no issues at all. But the reality is, we've got three horsemen in the race right now. If open to AI would fall, which I believe it never will, we've got now Gemini, which I'm playing
Mm-hmm.
with and looks incredibly impressive. We've also got Meta's open source efforts as well, which are very, very interesting. So, yeah, we're in a position now. If anyone was to go down, there's enough backups in place, and they're relatively easy to access their APIs. That's not really a challenge, and they've made it so easy with these modern development platforms. Google Cloud Platform it just makes it so easy to really build AI software from.
Yeah.
That's what's blown my mind about the AI explosion this year is just how easy it is to start building on top of these tools. It's pretty powerful.
Yeah. That's
Absolutely,
amazing.
yeah, and I have to tilt my hat to Microsoft and Google with how they've even just released like the AI Studio, which is like an even easier, simpler version of Google Cloud or
Mm-hmm.
Microsoft Azure to try and capture these kind of hobbyist hackers that have never touched any one of these development platforms before, to make it so easy for them to then start creating and building with AI, which is fantastic. I really commend them for doing that, and I really hope more people wet their feet into these things and start building with AI, because we need more people in this industry. We need more people here to do cool things. There's still not enough of us around.
Yeah. And that's what's amazing is obviously there's all the pessimists that think, AI is going to obliterate this industry and that industry. We're going to lose all these jobs. When in reality, it's opening up so much more opportunity as well, for someone like me who has no coding background, where I could go build a tool. Or like you, James, what I think is unique about you is you had this prior professional experience in like the SEO space, the marketing SEO space, and you are coming in now and kind of, tip to our podcast name, you're kind of revolutionizing this space where you're taking what you had done and you're just amplifying your reach, which I think is one of the most beautiful things about AI, is it allows one person to just have so much more of an impact.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I've seen crossed many doomsday preppers in my time,
Yeah.
specifically in this whole AI is the end of us uh, message. And when I probe them, they actually have not used AI beyond throwing a couple of prompts into ChatGPT. So their actual comprehension and understanding of AI is next to nothing. The reality is that when you take this into an actual business operational sense, I'm still I'm of complete personal belief that artificial intelligence between now and AGI, general artificial intelligence, and that seems to be coming around, a lot faster than what I originally assumed. Really, this exists, it exists as a co-pilot. Yeah, it's not replacing people. It is co-piloting an already trained, efficient, smart person to allow them to do their job at a larger scale, faster and more efficiently. Yes, okay, the very bottom of the flagpole, you most juniors of the juniors, arguably could be automated out of those roles. But that might just mean that they just need to then enter, like the actual entry of the business world, that next step up. And they just need to have that next step up in leveling. And perhaps how they get there is by attaching an artificial intelligence. I've not seen like in all of my experience in all of the businesses that I've worked with this year, and there's other tools that I'm building beyond Rankmax as well for other industries. It's a co-pilot. It's an efficiency multiplier. It's not a job killer or something that's going to wipe out an entire vertical. I think the whole message around that and the people saying this don't really know what they're talking about, and therefore they're creating a whole lot of fear mongering without actually understanding how artificial is working in a real business sense today.
Yeah, I could not agree more.
That definitely aligns with our thoughts as well. Like that's a big reason why we decided to do this podcast, is just the insane pessimism surrounding it is out of control, and we need to hear from people who are actually building with these tools and building a positive vision with them.
Well, thank you, James. I think this has been great. And like I said, it really is very interesting and cool to see you take your background and now applying AI to it. That is something we haven't really seen as much. Makes me think what I can do. I guess an example that came to mind as we were just before we end with AI is I'm in the accounting world or work in the public accounting space. And for a while, everyone was really worried because all of a sudden we started outsourcing this work to India, right? To these teams in India or Costa Rica, all these places around the world. And people thought, oh man, what are the associates? What are the first year associates going to do? And lo and behold, didn't replace any jobs. Now the associates just are having, like you said, they have way more capabilities. Now they're not having to do tick and tie, and AI is being introduced even more. So that's going to amplify that more. So I think it's kind of an iterative process where we're just becoming more and more efficient, more and more effective. And I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm excited to see where Rankmax goes, and I'm excited to hear about your other tools.
Be following it, yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Just quickly on that, though, I think where a real potential threat lies for artificial intelligence is your BPO countries, your business process outsourcing countries. I'm half Filipino. One of the largest verticals of the Philippines is business process outsourcing. Now, if you can actually comprehend and understand how to use artificial intelligence well to automate a business process, the whole theme of this show, that could pretty much eliminate a BPO if you knew how to do it well enough. But I do caveat to say, if you know how to do it well enough. And from what I've seen, the majority of businesses out there, aside from running a couple of prompts into Chat GPT, that's where the knowledge is. And to take that knowledge to automating entire business process or vertical with an artificial intelligence software solution, that's a gigantic gap right there. Yeah. So I don't know. And I think as just to tie in that gap with like things like the AI Studio and Microsoft and Google and whatnot, trying to make it easier and less barrier to entry to create these type of tools, potentially in time, and if more and more people start using them, that could then be the threat to the BPO countries. But that's just all speculation at this day and age. Time will tell.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, before you sign off, where can we find you online? What are your social media handles if you'd like to share any? We like to do this at the end of every episode with our guests.
Yeah, 100%. So just through on the website, rankmax.ai. If you type in @rankmax.ai, you'll find it on Instagram, Facebook /rankmaxai. on LinkedIn as well. And you can even just look me up at James Banks Co. That's my handle across all the platforms. So yeah, feel free to follow along if you enjoyed this conversation.
Yeah, this was great
Thanks,
talking
James.
to you. Thank you again so much for joining us today. I know it took me a second to get you scheduled, but I'm really glad that we got you in. Thank you so much.
No worries,
This
guys.
was
Thanks
great.
so much for making the time as well. And yes, it must be very late, so I will let you rest. I appreciate making this happen.
Awesome.
We'll stay in touch. Thanks, James.
Thanks so much, guys. Have a great night.
You too.